Hey everybody, I'm Robin Lance. I'm teaching Spanish 2, well, and other levels at Mitchell High School, but I'm going to speak directly to Spanish 2 students at the moment. I have worked at Mitchell High School since 1997, so going on 17 years, and we are really lucky to have Miss Martinez in our department this year. She's moved from the middle schools, and we are so excited to have her. So you will see her name on the page, and she and I follow some of the same rules so that there's consistency and continuity within our department. But then, of course, we both have our own styles, so we are super excited to have her. I just wanted to run through some of the rules for class. I find that talking you through the syllabus is a little bit better. It is a little dry. It's just, it's kind of a contract between me and the students, and so it's got lots of words on it, and it's just a lot easier sometimes to watch a video, so you can pause and start whenever you want. This is also to help get students used to watching videos for homework, which we do a lot. They take notes at home, and then we practice in class. So this is a little introduction to that style of teaching, which is a little different sometimes. Feel free to contact me anytime. Email's a great way. It's rlance@mhslive.net. Feel free to call me. Call the school, 766-3445 is my direct extension. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. We offer through AP Spanish at Mitchell High School, and that's language and culture, not literature at this point. So this class is Spanish 2, helping students who would like to go on get ready, and those students who need to complete level 2 to go on to college. Please be sure to check with your university that you plan on attending to see if you need 3 years, because some do require 3 years. This part of the document just kind of tells you a philosophy about learning languages, and then it also has 2 links for you. One shows you where students should be. We have moved to proficiency levels, which is how it works in Europe and many other countries. Most students who leave Spanish 1 in speaking, reading, presentation, and writing, they are in novice mid, except for giving presentations, they're novice low. At the end of Spanish 2, our goal is that everyone's at novice high. So you can see how it works here. As you move up the levels, it takes longer. The first 2 years, students can move pretty quickly. You're learning lots of concrete words. And then as you get into the higher advanced levels, you're negotiating meaning and persuasion and things like that. So it slows down a little bit, and it takes more years. We want students to take as many years of Spanish as they would like, and we meet them at their level and just try to help them move up this scale. And if they can't make it in the number of hours listed on the chart, that's fine. They can still take, as long as they pass Spanish 3, they can still take Spanish 4 or whatever, and we just meet them where they are and do activities to help them move up the ladder, so to speak. The other link just shows you a little bit more of the descriptors for what can a novice mid do. So for example, listening, I can understand some everyday words and phrases and questions about me, my personal experiences, my surroundings, when people talk to me slowly and clearly. So they're not going to be able to, understand necessarily every word on TV Azteca or Univision, but the slowly and clearly. And I show the kids videos. There's a great website from the University of Texas at Austin that actually has videos of native speakers speaking at each of the speeds, and we use those, and they're fantastic. And if parents, you would like that link to practice, it's wonderful. So take a look at that if you're interested. It just kind of helps you on your path, because I think a lot of people think, oh, after a year I should be fluent, or I had 2 years, I can't remember a word. It takes a really long time, and it takes practice, just like English or learning to be good at basketball. Sometimes it takes time, and this is great because it gives you help and tells you what you need to be able to do at the different levels. Just to give you a little heads up, Spanish 1 and 2 are not on the honors. It's not an honors credit. However, it's a college prep class, in that we're assuming that kids in that class are probably going to go to college. So I teach kind of, I'd say halfway. It's not true honors speed, but it is a college prep class, and so I do go at that level. But I'm here at SOAR. You know, I'm here 3 mornings a week before school, most days after school. I prefer that kids make an appointment with me if they need help, just because that way I make sure I'm here. Because I have a son, and so, you know, I might need to, run and go pick him up, but I can definitely make arrangements to stay. We do try to speak 95% in Spanish in class, and so I really love for the kids to do that too. It's not about being perfect, it's about communication. So, you know, if at the first week of school I just hear baño, that's good, and then eventually they can say puedo ir a baño and move up that ladder. So I do want them to internalize and own the language. So my feelings on Google Translate are this. In the moment, if you need a sentence and you just want to, you know, ask for something real quick and can't quite remember, try to just say the word and I will understand or act it out. You know, Google Translate in the moment might be a good place, but then you have to own that sentence and understand it. Why is it that way? What is the grammar behind it? Which word is the word for this and which word is the word for that? So in that pathway, you know, the only time I really like Google Translate is maybe like an immediate fix. I think of it, you know, kind of like fast food. It'll fill you up, but it's not always the most nutritious. I prefer the kids use word reference to look up a word they might need and then try their best. And it's okay. I will let them know when I expect exact accuracy. It's kind of like driving a car. You know, you can get from point A to point B without knowing how the inside of the engine works, but you might need to know how to put some gas in it. So it's kind of that idea. Assignments and grading, pretty basic. We're going to have tests. We're going to write some essays, and those essays count as a test grade. We will have a midterm, and any projects that we do count as 2 test grades. And the midterm is usually a speaking assessment. And tests, when I say tests, that might be a writing assessment. It might be a speaking assessment. It might be a listening assessment. It may not be your traditional like fill in the blank or multi-choice. While we have those, I usually save those for quizzes, that sort of thing. I prefer that tests be about communicating and using the skills that you've acquired to communicate. Homework, participation in classwork is 45%. Homework is mostly taking notes, watching videos either of me or other people presenting concepts and taking some notes, or drawing pictures of vocabulary, recording vocabulary using GarageBand, practicing that vocab. Because I want to use as much time in class to be on task and practicing the language. I feel like that promotes growth for the kids. So I might take up an assignment in class and grade it, for accuracy or for completion, and that goes in homework. So it's a little different than maybe the traditional where the teacher gives the information in class and then the kids do homework. I find that with a language that can be frustrating and parents can't always help, and I want the parents to feel like they can participate and help. So by putting the videos online, the parent can also watch the video. And then if the kid needs help reviewing, the student needs help reviewing, you've seen the video too, hopefully, and can understand. Also, students can watch it as many times as they want at home in privacy. And if they're not, you know, if it takes them 4 times, fine. And they don't need to be embarrassed that it took them 4 times. Because lots of times in class, kids won't ask questions when they really need help because they want, you know, they don't want to embarrass themselves in front of their peers. And I understand that. So that's why we're moving to this model. On occasion, I might send a worksheet home. We're still working out the wrinkles, but that's the plan. Quizzes count 20%. Quizzes are usually like grammar. Let's see if we can do the different forms of this verb, or it might be matching vocabulary. It might be a quick reading comprehension check. And they're, you know, small, 10 to 20 questions. We do use Linguafolio. Linguafolio is a self-assessment tool. It's not for a grade. I do expect the kids to do it, and then when they do and show it to me, I give them their grade, and if not, I just give them an incomplete. They need a folder like this, and their Linguafolio goes inside, and there's another video on Linguafolio too if you want to watch that. And it's just a place for them to assess their language, and if we have students learning more than one language, I have a couple students, one learning Arabic, one learning Russian and French. They can come and pick an extra one up and do that one for that language. What it does is it gives them ideas of things to do to practice the language, And with YouTube now and the internet, oh my goodness, they can just go and teach themselves. It's really fantastic. Or find a friend who speaks that language and practice. So we will be doing this. We are doing the paper version as opposed to online because I think that it looks really nice when you walk into an interview for a job. Plus, it's a great place to store. You see samples of work that the student has here, grades that they've made, and little pieces of their work so they can say, this is what I can do. And again, there's a more detailed video on the Linguafolio on my YouTube channel. It's just Robin Lance. If you type it in YouTube, you should see my little picture in the corner, and all of my videos and playlist videos that I like for the kids. We are going to have a midterm, and we will have a final exam. Right now, the final exam is a couple of different elements. It's some interview questions, a speaking element, and a multi-choice. The midterm usually is a speaking assessment. And I give the kids ample opportunity, and Ms. Martinez and I give the same benchmark assessments so that the kids are getting the same content with either teacher. Work needs to be turned in when it's due because we're going to go on and I'm not going to wait. And so if your student didn't do their homework or didn't watch the videos when they come into class, they're going to be a little bit behind, and they will be able to move more quickly through the assignments if they do the homework. This is how I feel about homework. You need to do it, and so I'm not going to give you 0 if it's late the second day, but I'm not going to give you full credit either. It's kind of like, if you pay your credit card payment late, they charge you. So it's 10 points off, and then for every day after that, it's 2 points off. And if you bring it to me, the lowest grade I usually give is anywhere between a 50 and a 70, depending on the quality of the work as well. Students who are absent usually give you about 2 days to make that up. If it's a long-term absence, I'll give you more time than that. Everything's on haiku, so if you're absent, you can actually go ahead and do your homework for that day. And I'm going to do a haiku tutorial, which will be on the website, just to kind of take you through that learning tool in a little bit more detail, but I'm not going to do it here. One of the things that I feel like is that, life is all about second chances. I mean, I redo stuff all the time. I move my furniture around in my house and what have you. So we get to redo things. So I kind of feel that way if a student has a bad day and they fail something, I give them a second chance. And they come and get help and we retake it. I usually only do this for failing assignments. But again, if the assignment's really not where the student wants it to be and they're like, I really know I can do better than an 80, we come and discuss it. Those things need to be taken care of at the end of class when we're done. If there's time before, after school, or SOAR is a great time for that. I'm also available during lunch. And this semester, my planning is second. So if a student has time and wants to come down, they can come down. And again, appointments work the best before and after school so I can make sure that I'm here. Websites. Students and parents can find all the work on haiku. Parents, you can access haiku. You'll need to speak to Casey Johnson for passwords as well as PowerSchool for those. I cannot help you set up that in. That has to go through Casey Johnson. And I've included her email address on this document. If not, it's cjohnson@mhslive.net. Students will be creating a Google site to house their work. Here's a sample of one. It's just a Google site. We chose Google because they can take it with them when they graduate. They will post videos of themselves speaking. They will post their autobiographies. This is a great, not only are we learning a tech tool or a language, but we're learning some technology tools as well. And the kids will learn how to post videos. This is a great thing. They can walk into a company or a business and say, look, I can create a website for you. And hopefully get a better position. And then it also shows that employer, well, I do have some Spanish and this is what I'm capable of. And so I want the kids to be workforce ready, have some tech tools in their belt, and also have some language skills that maybe will help them make a little bit more money or win that job interview. So the Google site that they create, it counts as a project grade, so it's 2 test grades. So it's important that they maintain that website. The other item that's going on in class is a personal dictionary, and I make them for the kids and give them to them. Now, they have vocabulary they're required to use. Let's say we're doing a shopping unit and they need to know their fruits and vegetables in the stores. Those are required for the test. But we're chatting and the list only gives 10 vegetables and they really like artichokes. And so they're like, Señora, ¿cómo se dice artichoke? And I'm like, oh, alcachofa. And I write it down for them. Well, they write it in their personal dictionary. And Katie's like, you know what? I don't like artichokes, and so I'm not going to write that down. The idea with the personal dictionary is it's personal. They can write down words that are meaningful to them that may not be in that unit that we're studying. And it's also encyclopedic in that it's people and places and countries and food items and all of that goes in here. It's a reflective tool. It helps students be a reflective learner. And I always tell them, I actually use this when I started high school French. And then when I went to France and when I lived in Mexico and when I visited Spain, this was a tool that really helped me. Oh, how again do I say I'd like 3 oranges? Needing to be able to eat and use the bathroom and get money are important things. And I didn't want to walk around with a dictionary at the time because there were no cell phones. And so I invented a little item to make it easy for me to not look too touristy and still get what I need. And I have found it useful, and therefore I'm passing this on as a tool for the kids. They can also use it in other classes, like make one for biology or for English. And it's a great place to write stuff and draw pictures. Again, LinguaFolio, which is on the screen, but I did talk about it, so they'll need a folder for that if they don't already have one, and I supply all the copies on the inside. They just need a folder for it. When you're on the block schedule, of course, we get the whole class done in a semester. And so basically one class day would be like 2 in a year-long traditional. So it's really important that students be here. Plus, we are practicing in class. They're going to watch the notes, read the notes at home, be ready to come in and practice those concepts in class. And so if they miss a day, they've missed all that chance to be able to practice. Now, I'm happy to practice before after school. They can also chat me up if I'm at home and I'm just hanging out and I've got my computer on and they want to say, I need to practice Tenaire. Can you ask me some questions? I'm happy to, chat when it's academically related or if students need practice. I can also set up a tutor for them if they'd like a peer tutor. Please also just review the attendance policy in the student handbook. My classroom rules and procedures. We need to, my most important thing is to be respectful of one another. And we're not, learning language is really difficult and you're putting yourself out there and people might think you sound funny. And so we're not going to make fun of how people sound or if they make mistakes or errors. I want the classroom to be a safe zone where kids feel like we can try out the language and, we're not going to embarrass ourselves. So that's important for me, and I put that as rule number 1. Another procedure we have is bell work. I expect students to come in. There's an assignment on the board. They need to immediately get started. This does count towards participation. If they are not doing this and I'm consistently having to speak to them about you need to be on task, then there'll be a consequence. What this does, it allows me to take roll so that I don't get yelled at for not taking roll. And it also allows me to talk to students who were absent the day before. And it's quiet time. We are so inundated with technology and video games and cell phones and listening to music that we forget that it's okay to just be quiet and, do a little activity in silence. So that's my philosophy for bell work. I have 3 simple rules. Be on time, come prepared, and we behave. Usually high school kids know what's appropriate behavior. If they forget, I will remind them. But I don't like to have to repeat, sit down, sit down, sit down. I think we know at this point when it's appropriate to stand up and when it's not. And all the handbook rules apply, dress code, hats. The only thing is I do understand the need to eat. And so I'm not too concerned about food as long as it's not a distraction. And if the kids make a mess, they need to clean it up. The computer use policy, I love technology, as you can tell, and I love using the computers with the kids, but we are using it as a tool and not a toy. And so if we're in class and we are working on an assignment and the student needs word reference, that's fine. But they're not answering email while I'm lecturing, or they're not, IMing friends while we're trying to do an activity. And if I see that, I will give them a yellow card, a warning. Then they'll have a second one. There'll be detention to the point where they might lose their computer privileges, and then class gets a little bit more boring and not as fun. So it is important that we use the computer while we're in class as a tool. I do also, as far as technology goes, allow the students to use their cell phones to take pictures of posters on the wall, like the one behind me that has emotions, and this one, because I love digital flashcards. I love the fact that if I'm way over in the corner, and see, I have vision problems, I can take a picture of that and have it right next to me whenever I want. Because I know every day Miss Lance is going to ask me how I'm feeling, and if today I'm really frustrated, I need to be able to say that. So I love digital flashcards. So if students have cell phones with a camera, they can take cameras. They can also, or take pictures. They can also take pictures of the verb wall. So if we're working on a particular one of those little posters, they can take a picture of it so that they've got it on their phone, and it's a little, like I said, digital flashcard, which I love, that they have those cell phones. Also, Word Reference has an app for cell phone, so they don't have to toggle back and forth between pages. They can just, right there on their desk, look up a word they need. Duolingo has an app, which I love, and when a student's finished with their work, they're welcome as long as they're on Duolingo or one of those. I have 2 iPads available for when students finish assignments, that they can borrow those iPads, play Duolingo, play some really cool apps. If that's a piece of technology they don't usually get to play on, or they don't have that in their hand, they can borrow one. And they are responsible for those while they're using them. So, if they break them, they're going to have to replace them. And one was donated by someone, so we're super lucky to have those. Here is about what students are not supposed to be doing, the plagiarizing and that sort of thing. I give tons of examples that the kids can use. So when they go to Google Translate, they type in the whole essay. That's kind of plagiarizing. It's cheating. I would rather they look at the samples I give and parrot and be like, oh, you know what? I do that. But Miss Lance likes coffee and I like Pepsi, so I'm going to change that and say I like Pepsi. And so it's okay to parrot, and I'm happy with that with the examples I give. Google Translate to me, it's cheating. They're not internalizing and owning the language and being able to recognize it. So, we see the word plagiarizing. It's not the same as an English class, but, we can't copy classmates' work and that sort of thing. And no cheating. Listening to music while working on the computer in Spanish class, they need to ask, and if I feel that that's appropriate, I will let them. My disciplinary actions is I do these things called yellow cards, and they have a little sentence on them, and I apologize, they are way across the room. And it just I just walk over and set it on the desk and remind the student, this behavior is not acceptable. The first time they get a warning, just like in soccer, you get your yellow card. And then after that, there's going to be some consequences down the road. So if we have some issues with the computers, like they're texting or IMing or doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Honestly, can't tell you the last time I sent a kid to the office. Usually, I'm really lucky. Mitchell High School students rock. Discipline plan. I love to give out stickers and have food, and we'll have game days. We'll watch videos. But I did have a class last semester. They had to lose their food, and it really made me sad. It really made them sad. So, like, if there was a sub, students are on task, that sort of thing. And the consequences are pretty simple. The first time I'm going to give you a verbal warning and give you a yellow card. Second time, we'll get another one. It's going to be 30 minutes for you and I to hang out together and talk about what the issue is. The third time is an hour of detention, and I'm going to call home. I usually do call home on the second one, though, too. And that one may have to go to the office. And, of course, anything that's a level 2, 3, or 4 offense, verbal abuse, that sorts of things, that it goes to the office, and we'll handle it from there. I feel that time flies when we're learning, and we may not always have super fun, but we'll be learning and hopefully having fun along the way, maybe some food too. So I hope that students understand that behavior in class is one of those really important things. Let's talk about what we need for class. Of course, charged computer usernames and passwords. Students should already be logged in when they come into class. In fact, because they don't have to turn their computers off. You can just stay logged in and come to class. Earbuds and headphones are helpful. I have some in class, but you can get earbuds now for like $5 or $6. Textbook. Don't use one at home. If we use the textbook, it's usually like, I'll take a picture of it or whatever. We have textbooks here in class, and we do use them, and they are the student's responsibility to take care of them. To replace a lost or damaged textbook can run $75. So we need to take good care of those. And if a student's absent and needs the textbook, I will check those out. But we use the computers a lot. My students, I'm trying something new this year. We're going to see how it goes. I call myself an educational scientist. And so sometimes I'm the nutty professor. I'm going to try using these this year. And so it is 200 pages, or it's 100 sheets, 200 pages, wide ruled, 9 3/4 by 7 1/2. They're 50 cents. You get like 200 pages for 50 cents. Woo, it's super economical. So this is only for Spanish class. Can't rip the pages out. It'll fall apart. You lose it. You're going to have to buy another one and start over. I've got a few in class for sale for 50 cents, but you can get them at Walmart. And we are going to use these instead of a 3-ring binder. Now, students will still probably, well, not probably, students will...
Please pardon the interruption.
So students will need these, and we will be gluing things in. I know you're like, well, how do they put worksheets in these? We're going to tape those in. And we're going to hope that this helps us not lose our work. And that's the plan. The other thing, pens, pencils, and paper. They do need the folder for Lingua Folio, and then, of course, they're responsible for any other materials that I might give them. Students don't have to have internet access. I know you're like, how are they going to watch these videos? Well, if you are watching this video at home and you don't have internet access, that means your student used clipconverter.cc to download the video. And so students will never need internet. I put everything in PDF form, so it'll live on their computer. As long as they got power, they can do their computer. And if they don't, then it's really important that they learn a skill to write down their homework. Using sticky notes or using Google Tasks, which there's another video on my website about how to use Google Tasks, and that sort of thing. So they don't have to have internet access. If you have a cell phone, great, and also word reference comes on the cell phone. But if you need a dictionary, I have some in class. I will check one out for the year. Students don't have to purchase it. And there's a couple of free apps I posted of dictionaries for that as well. And I think that's everything. And let's see, what else? Oh, I just gave some hints on how to be successful in Spanish class, and some things that might help you achieve. So I'll let you read through those. But, it's so awesome now. We can watch TV in Spanish. We can watch movies in Spanish. We can practice. I gave a whole bunch right here on my website that I created for Mitchell County Schools. Tons of resources. So if a student's got some free time, they can go and watch ESPN in Spanish. They can go and look at the Hershey's website in Spanish if they like chocolate. And so if they're in line at the grocery store and you've got that Duolingo app on your phone, you can be doing that. And just like in, 2nd or 3rd grade, when your parents quizzed you on your vocabulary, your spelling list for that week, you can do that for this class too. It would just be the parents would give the English word and the student would give the Spanish word back. And, parents, you can usually tell, oh yeah, that was the right word if you're not familiar with the pronunciation, but that's a great way. So, what words do you need to know for this week? Oh, well, I need to know my colors. Okay, well, what's red? Oh, rojo. What's green? Verde. So you can help with that, and look on Haiku and see what's going on and check their students' grades. So there's lots and lots of stuff. This can be a really great way to boost your GPA. Supplies. I sent an email before school started, and I asked each student to bring a supply. If this is financially not if financially you can't do this, that's fine. Just let me know. But we needed like some Scotch tape and some wipes and Kleenexes and hand sanitizer. We only get $100 per teacher to spend on supplies, and I bought markers and tissue paper and pipe cleaners so we could do some art activities, and the $100 was gone. So I did ask students to bring cups and plates. I also ask students to bring $5. The $5 goes in an account and I use it to buy groceries so that we can cook in class, try new food. I have found that sending students to the grocery store, often the wrong items were coming, they weren't coming on time. And I know that there is something to be said for learning responsibility, but it was throwing my lesson plans off. So this was something I decided that we would just do, and that if each student brought a $5 lab fee, it usually covers most of the food that we're going to make, whether it be salsa or flan or licuados. And some of it I might make at home just so we can have a sample in class. And lots of times we make it in class. We make the flan in class. We make the salsa in class. Last year we got to make tamales for the first time and it was wonderful. So we're going to do it again when we read the poem about tamales. If you can volunteer to bring more, that would be awesome. I gave you this exhaustive list over here on the side. And you're probably looking through and going, really? Hot glue gun sticks? Yeah, I'll take them if you're getting rid of them. Movies. If you're cleaning out, bring me your movies because usually the track's in Spanish and we can watch them. And all sorts of stuff. Always, trying to replenish our cooking. Our blender broke last year and that sort of thing. So if you can add extra items to that, I would be so eternally grateful for your contribution to the World Language Department here at Mitchell High School. Students have this sheet printed. And parents and guardians, if you will fill out your information for me, just so I make sure I have the correct and up-to-date information in case it's not the same as in Power School. And that way I can call and say, hey, Jorge's doing great. And your email address, if you have one, and I will include you on any emails I might send. And just that you've read over the syllabus and you feel comfortable with the information there. I am going to talk to you about movies. There is a document that the students downloaded that has a list of the videos that we show at Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, Spanish 4. I do pause if there's a language issue in the video or a scene like that's inappropriate because I'm a mom, I have an 8-year-old, so I kind of, see the world in that light, and I'm like, ooh, we're not going to watch that scene with that word in it. But most of the time it's lots of cartoons. We love to watch How to Train Your Dragon in Spanish. It's fun to watch Hiccup's dad speak in Spanish. It's kind of funny. So please look that over and let me know if you are okay with that or not okay with your student watching those videos so that I can be sure to provide an alternate assignment. I get to know the kids from their perspective and from them, but it's also fun to hear from the parent. So if you could write me a little note, I've given you some things to think about, to share with me about your student. It just makes it easier for me to get to know them quicker. And I guess that's it. And I hope that this wasn't too long and arduous for you. And it's nice to talk face to face. Hopefully, I will get to hear your voice and not just you hearing mine. Thanks for all that you do for Mitchell High School and for sending your child, your student, ready to class. I love working with them and it's made my job so much better. Have a great day. Hasta luego. Nos vemos. Que les vaya bien.